The next lesson he taught me was do not underestimate the power of being an owner.
I'm not leaving.
And he said that I see you hiding in your office, afraid to talk to clients. And what you're doing is you're robbing them of an experience that only you can bring.
You're a coach by Kier for 13 years. What would you say was the best advice that he gave you?
He told me, say what you think. And it sounds super simple and basic. Like, what do you mean say what you think? Don't we all say what we think? Turns out we don't. We're so fearful of finding the right words, the tonality, and to be able to state it in a way that matches our intention. And we're so fearful of the client's reaction to all of this that we oftentimes cannot say what it is that we think. And this creates a lot of stress in us. Like, we want to know what the budget is, but we don't ask. We think the terms are unfair, but we don't say. They're using abstract language and we think we know what they're saying, but we don't ask because we don't want to seem stupid or dumb. You would say, tell me how you do a sales call from beginning to end. And he was a little shocked and amused. And he said, how do you know what they want? You never ask what they want. And I thought you can never ask for what it is that you want because that would mean that you're out of touch with what's going on, that I thought you were supposed to be leading the conversation. Now, keep in mind, I was working as a director, talking to advertising agencies about commercial campaigns. And so I always thought they're looking for me for a perspective, a way to shoot, the way to edit. And that's how I'd seen this done before from directors that I'd looked up to. But I find that it's just much easier to say, when you were writing this concept, what inspired you? What is it about this campaign that is like every other campaign that you've worked on or is totally different? Can you be super specific? When you say it needs to be cinematic, can you give me some reference points so I can get into your mind? So he just gave me permission to say what it is I was thinking. And I thought, this is too simple. This is too basic and maybe too crass. Like I'm some uneducated cretin who is a production monkey. And it turns out asking these questions garners a very interesting response, as you can imagine. Here's tip number 2, and it's about really managing your relationships with the people who work for you. When people work for you, you do not realize the power you have as the owner, as the director or the creative director. So people want to please you. They don't want to tell you the truth and they just want to see you happy. And so oftentimes we were finding that I was getting frustrated or disappointed in the work product that I was getting from the team, either freelancers or staff. They were either missing deadlines or they were not doing what it is that I thought they were supposed to be doing. So I talked to Kier about this and he's like, you need to give people permission to say no to you. By default, they will not say no. They will nod as if they agree, as if it can be done, and they already know that it cannot be done. So he says, do this next time you talk to one of your employees or staff. When you tell them what you want, like, I want to have 3 ideas done by Tuesday night. Is this something that you can do? And it's okay for you to say no. And I need to hear that now so that I'm not disappointed later. If there's some part of this is confusing or there's too much here for you to do, let's have a conversation about it and then we'll figure out what we can do. And so here's the funny thing. I try this thinking they're not going to tell me anything, but in fact, what he said is true. So I'm talking to the designer and he said, Chris, everything makes sense. I totally can do this. Here's my problem. I've been given 2 other priorities. Which one is more important? Which is a greater priority? Like, oh my God, I didn't even know you had these 2 other things. Who the heck's telling you to do these things? And clearly in my mind, my thing is more important. I'm the boss. And now they're like stressed out. Have to give people permission to say no to you in a way that they can hear. And you have to check in. Like, do we understand each other? Otherwise, what people do is just keep agreeing with you and you're going to be disappointed time and time again.
It sounds like set an expectation just across your business. I think with your clients, but then also with your employees, because sometimes you get requests from clients that you're just like, well, can we even do this? But setting that expectations up front, it's going to save you a lot of trouble.
We've been talking about it from the point of view of the owner or the manager. But what if you're the other person? Even though you own your own business, you still have a client. Everybody has a boss, as they say, right? So what if your clients come to you and say, hey, we need this and this done by this date? And you're feeling like, oh, I can't do that. So you can understand now, you're like, whoa, and we just agree, we go along with this. So now you can understand how that feels from an employee or subordinate point of view, because now you're the employee or the subordinate to your clients. And so you also need to, even though they're not expert communicators, you can raise your hand and you can say, oh, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I heard what it is you want, and I'm having a hard time reconciling this in my mind because A, this goes way out of scope, or B, this is way more work than can be done. I need to figure out with you right now what the nice to have are and the have to haves are. because we need to prioritize that. So what you want to do is you want to raise the problem up front as early as possible, because the longer it takes to raise the problem, the more expensive it becomes to solve. So here we go. The last tip is this, I talked a little bit about the power of being an owner. And when Keir used those words with me in the beginning, I'm like, power of the owner is like two words that's like making me feel really uncomfortable. I don't want to have power. I'm not trying to be powerful, and I'm not trying to beat my chest and it's like, well, me owner, you employee. And it just seems wrong. But the next lesson he taught me was, do not underestimate the power of being an owner. And he said that, I see you hiding in your office, afraid to talk to clients. And what you're doing is you're robbing them of an experience that only you can bring. Imagine that you're going to a restaurant or a cafe and you sit down, you're having a really nice meal, and it's you and your wife and you're just enjoying everything. And then somebody comes out from the back, it's the owner or the executive chef. I don't know if you know this, but I'm the executive chef. My name is Jean-Philippe. I was wondering how your meal was. You ordered the lamb, you ordered the salmon. Was it cooked to your liking? And of course you're like, oh my God, the chef, the owner's here checking in on me? Like, who am I today that this has happened? No matter what, you're going to say, this is a lovely meal. This is incredible. Thank you very much. And you're going to walk away feeling really important, and you're going to have an emotional connection to that establishment. Take that into the context of your business, and your team is working with the clients, and they come in, you have a spread, you've got the welcome sign, everything is great, but where are you in this picture? And I was telling him, Keir, I can't do this. I don't really want to have conversations with people. He's like, what's wrong? I said, I don't know how to begin the conversation, and worse, I don't know how to get out of them. So what he did was he's like, staff, come around. They're all gathered around my executive team. They're Chris, he needs to be in front of the client. It's critical for this company to build that kind of relationship, because they're going to feel like he cares, and it's important for us to get referral work and continue to grow this company. He doesn't know how to have a conversation with people. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to introduce him. And a couple of minutes later, I just want you to make up a reason to get him out of the room. Bring me into the room next time the client was there. They would introduce me. It's like, oh, everybody, I just want you to meet Chris. He's the founder and owner of the company. He just wants to check in on you. I'm like, hi, everybody. Are we taking good care of you? Doing the same bit. And then my executive producer is like, you know what? I hate to do this, but I have to steal him away. He has to prep for another call. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. If there's anything you need, please let me know and pull me out. And then they felt that same thing that I've only felt once in my life, that the owner cares. So over time, I was able to develop this into a skill, believe it or not. I know you guys are all laughing at me right now, that I can actually walk in myself and introduce myself and just say, okay, everything's great. I'm probably actually disturbing the workflow right now. So I'll get out of your hair and let me know if you need anything. I just walk out. And so I acquired a life skill, but I also learned a big life lesson, which is at the end of the day, they can get anybody to do the work, but very few people actually care enough to communicate to them that their business is important and we don't take it for granted. If you want to equip yourself with the right community, training, and resources to take your business to the next level, I want to personally invite you to check out the Futur Pro Group and our membership, specifically created for experienced business owners ready to scale.